Yep, you read that title correctly. Adobe has decided to jump right back onto the bandwagon of bad news. Unless somehow by some miracle Adobe decides to do a full 180, which I highly doubt they're gonna do. Yeah, I was wrong. I made this entire video talking about how Adobe's evil, how dare they get rid of animation. But in the amount of time it took me to edit that video, Adobe then backstepped. They reversed their decision, and now I'm sitting here looking like a fool with a video that I've not even uploaded yet. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to show you the original video, but then I'm going to interject myself into all the points that have now been reversed. So I hope that I hope that's not too confusing. I hope you can still enjoy, somewhat. And it's a learning experience for both us and, of course, Adobe. Yesterday, many of your favorite animators that use Adobe Animate opened up either their emails or a recent project they've been working on to receive this wonderful spit in the face from the company. It reads, "Dear Animator, we're contacting you to let you know that Adobe will be discontinuing Adobe Animate on March 1st, 2026. As an existing Animate user, you may continue to use Animate, but please note that technical support will no longer be available after March 1st, 2027. Please note that access to your Animate files and project data will end on March 1st, 2027. To ensure a smooth transition, we encourage you to export your Animate FLA and XFL files to other formats such as SWF, SVG, and MP4 files before this date." Adobe for some reason seems to treat its user base like dirt on its shoe, doing anything that it can to try and get off as much of them as possible. This is no longer the case. Instead, Adobe treats its user base as if it's an anxious partner, asking, "Do you still love me?" and essentially seeing if you're paying attention by threatening to discontinue a huge service. Of course, I learnt about this from YouTube, just like many of you are right now. The two videos that stood out to me were one by Crown Prince and one by Lost Relic Games. It's important to note that Crown has already made an update acknowledging the change has been reversed. In Lost Relic Games' video, he talks about how Adobe has recently been investigated for things exactly like this. Their anti-consumerism and just hate for their own user base for literally no reason whatsoever, and how it's jeopardizing his own game Blood and Meat. While it is true that Adobe has been under investigation for anti-consumerism and they have made a few bad mistakes in the past, I think it's a bit too strong to use hate in this context, so I will take that back until proven otherwise. But as shown in his video, it's not just his indie game that's at stake. We're talking huge projects that have used Adobe Animate before. We're talking My Little Pony, Super Meat Boy, Castle Crashers, Binding of Isaac, need I say any more? There's so many projects that are going to be jeopardized by this horrible business decision. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. What Adobe aims to do with this new phenomenal update is lock animators out of their own projects and just require them to download them in compressed formats, which to my understanding, he goes on about this in a bit more detail, is just not something that animators can do. So a lot of people online seem to be confused as whether or not Adobe really understands what their software is actually used for. Now, I'm sure that the people who actually develop the software are well aware of what it does. However, this does bring up an important case. If something like this were to ever happen in the future, what are you going to do with your files? Because they're all Adobe specific, you'd hope that the Adobe specific software to run them always exists, but say that software disappears, then it's going to be difficult for you to then convert your files. So this is going to be an important point for any animator using Adobe software to think, okay, how am I going to secure my files should anything happen to them, or how am I going to copy them down or duplicate them? It's just another precaution that you're going to want to think about. Maybe, yeah, you're going to have to save your project every now and again so that you don't lose it to corruption, but now you don't want to lose it to the software disappearing either. In Crown's video, he talks about how he's literally just renewed his subscription for Adobe products for the next year, but what's he going to do when those products just all start disappearing? Is he going to be owed some sort of refund, or what's going to happen there? He talks about how this is just one of the backfires of having a subscription-based service, but think about, if you're going to pay for a year's worth of a service, you'd assume that service exists for the year that you're paying for it. It's just kind of a bit of an annoying situation to be in, because now what is he going to be doing? He talks about how he can't really move straight over to another software because there aren't as many softwares that are just like Adobe Animate. Not everything works or clicks in the same manner. So what's he going to do? He's 20 years of experience, both teaching people and learning himself on how to use Adobe Animate to its best, and all that is now for nothing. For Crown, that's effectively Adobe just flushing 20 years of experience down the toilet. I think I was getting a little bit confused here. In Crown's video, basically what he's saying is that there's no direct alternative for Adobe Animate, should it have disappeared, which it's not disappearing, it's staying. But if it had disappeared, there's no alternative in terms of budgeting or capabilities. That's what I was trying to say. But also at the same time, that 20 years of experience that Crown has, just because Adobe Animate disappears, that doesn't mean that the experience disappears. Luckily, that's something that you get to keep a hold of. And somehow try to transfer over to a different software if you needed to, which in this case, you don't, luckily. So you might be asking yourself, why are Adobe discontinuing Animate? In their FAQ, it says here that Adobe is discontinuing Animate because Animate has been a product that's existed for over 25 years and has served its purpose well for creating, nurturing, and developing the animation ecosystem. As technologies evolve, new platforms and paradigms emerge that better serve the needs of the users. Acknowledging this change, we are planning to discontinue supporting Animate. Huh? Basically what this is saying is, oh yeah, times are changing, deal with it. Yeah, so these just don't exist anymore. They updated the page a couple minutes ago and the mention of discontinuation just is gone. This is what it looks like now. It's much nicer and yeah. Completely bogus reason as to why they've decided to just stop continuing Animate. Maybe they're just trying to save a couple pennies. Why not discontinue, I don't know, Photoshop as well? That'll save them loads of pennies. They don't have to upkeep that anymore either. Save yourself some coins and discontinue everything. That'll be so much easier, so much less hassle for Adobe as well, because then they just don't have to do anything. They can just sit there. And now animators, much like Crown, are going to have to just figure out a completely new software. Adobe doesn't really seem to recommend many. Adobe doesn't seem to have many alternatives on offer when they mention what other products should animators be using. They say here that customers with a Creative Cloud Pro plan can use other Adobe apps to replace portions of Animate's functionality. I'm not so sure how well these fit. So for example, you can mention Adobe After Effects supports complex keyframe animation using the Puppet tool, or Adobe Express uses one-click animation effects. I'm not exactly sure how useful these two are going to be when you're talking about really large files, and I'm not sure if you can even move your animation files across to this. I'm sure there are some animators out there who can answer these questions, but it just doesn't seem like they've properly planned what they're going to do for an end of life, considering they've only got 1 month left for the discontinuation of this. It all seemed to happen so quickly. It didn't seem like there was much warning before all this discontinuation was going to go into effect. It's a good thing that they reversed it. However, unfortunately, even though the reversal is in place, Adobe has now damaged their reputation. Its users have lost trust in the reliability of its products. Not even just animation, but it could be any of the Adobe suite. And now Adobe's forced animators to go to competitors just so that they don't have to worry about losing everything again. The question is, why couldn't they just package it up and create a standalone app for animators to use? Did they have to just get rid of the whole thing? Doesn't seem to make much sense. This is also something mentioned in one of the previous videos. I don't think they could just package it all into one app. I'm not 100% sure on this, so don't quote me. But I'm pretty sure the point is that if it's not receiving constant security updates, then it's no longer safe, it's a liability, and so they have to get rid of it. This is not happening, but this is just to answer my question. If you don't want Adobe to keep getting away with this, one of the channels you should be supporting is Lewis Rossman. He's covered many cases like this before of unnecessary software sunsets. Yes, that was very difficult to say. And he's actually the reason why my profile photo is clippy. He explains as to why the movement's going on, and you should definitely go check out what's going on there. And if he's watching this video, that's awesome. I found this photo for the executives of Adobe, and it says here that at Adobe we raised the bar. These are not the executives for Adobe. This is just a photo for an advert that they have, and I just found one with a quote. Well, the full quote should actually be, at Adobe we raise the bar until it is unreachable for consumers, because that's clearly what their business practice is trying to go for. Please ignore that. I have no idea what Adobe's business plan is, and yeah, just ignore what I said. So let me summarize everything that's going on. Hi, we're Adobe. Are you an animator? Go f*** yourself. We're gonna delete Animate and lock down all of your files, and there's f*** all you can do about it. Once again, go f*** yourself. Thanks. Bye. And that's kind of the gist of what they're giving off. There's not really much you can do about it, unfortunately. Yeah, so thankfully that's not what actually happened. What actually happened was a little bit more like this. Hi, it's Adobe. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say all those mean things. Look, I take it all back. None of that happened. Remember, you can trust us with your animation. Unless somehow by some miracle Adobe decides to do a full 180, which I highly doubt they're gonna do. So all you can really do now is A, call Lewis Rossman, because I'm guarantee you he's gonna be looking into this, and B, well, good luck, and that's about it. See ya. Except that's not just about it. See ya. Instead, I'm going to tell you about what they've updated the website to say now and why you shouldn't worry as much. As you can see in this screenshot, what the website now says is, we are not discontinuing or removing access to Adobe Animate. Animate will continue to be available for both current and new customers, and we will ensure you continue to have access to your content. There is no longer a deadline or date by which Animate will no longer be available. These are changes from what we shared in our original email. Adobe Animate is in maintenance mode for all customers. This applies to individual, small businesses, and enterprise customers. Maintenance mode means we will continue to support the application and provide ongoing security and bug fixes, but we are no longer adding new features. Animate will continue to be available for both new and existing users. We will not be discontinuing or removing access to Adobe Animate. We are committed to ensuring Animate users have access to their content regardless if the state of development changes. This is good. This is a really good thing, because instead of them removing access to Animate, they're doing the thing that we wanted them to do and just leaving Animate in a state that is still accessible and usable. This is a fantastic thing, and I'm very happy that Adobe has decided to do this. Maybe you received an email that Adobe Animate was going to be shut down, it's going to be discontinued. Well, luckily they address it right here in this screenshot I've got for you. What they say is, no, what we initially shared has changed. Adobe Animate is in maintenance mode, and we have no plans to discontinue or remove access. What is maintenance mode? I think it's just a little bit of a checkup mode. It mentions it here. What is maintenance mode? When an application is in maintenance mode, it will continue to be available, it will continue to be supported, it will continue to receive security and bug fixes, but it will not get new features. Basically, what maintenance mode is exactly what we've been asking for. It's just a little mode to let us know it's not going to get any new updates, but it is going to be staying secure and receiving security updates, which is exactly what we wanted. So this is good. This is a fantastic and really good end to the story. And yeah, good job, Adobe. I hope other companies follow in your footsteps. Keep it up. And yeah, that's about it. See ya. Hi. If you couldn't tell, I don't really make videos like this ever. So if you thought it was good, do let me know. And if you really enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe.